morning, good afternoon to everyone from the UK. Pete Moore here from the Pain Toolkit. It's still a bit light here at the moment, but boy, oh boy, is it freezing outside. It's about 1 or 2 degrees, but it feels a bit colder than that. But welcome to the Pain Toolkit 1 minute interview, and I'm pleased to say this afternoon I've got James Stark with me, all the way from Michigan in the USA. Good afternoon to you. It's probably good morning to you, James. So how are you?
I'm doing very well, very well. It's going to be a really good day today. Going to get to go cross-country skiing and have a wonderful time. So,
fantastic. So you're a physical therapist. Do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about what you do and what your? I mean, we talked a little bit off camera about what your main aims are, but can you tell the viewers what they are?
Sure. So first of all, I've been a physical therapist for 26 years now, but I actually retired from clinical practice on Friday the 13th of April last year. And I did that because I'm so passionate about what I'm doing right now, which is I'm trying to create educational programs for other clinicians. So on the 20th of April last year, I was in Norway at the Pain Cloud conference. Next month, I'll be in San Diego for the Pain Summit there, which are both great conferences, and I know that you've been in Pain Cloud as well. Then I'm also the chairperson of the Michigan Physical Therapy Pain Special Interest Group. We started that this past fall, and we've got now 50 members of that, and we're trying to we'll have our own conference in 2 months, and it's really growing fast in terms of the awareness that the medical model that we were trained in is wholly insufficient to explain persistent pain. And so trying to get people to move that concept, there's a tremendous inertia in a fixed idea. And the inertia in this case is the biomedical model. We've got to try to break that model apart a little bit and make more complexity. And the beauty of that complexity is it gives you so many more tools to work with.
You know what? Don't get me started on a medical model, because to me, that's the one that drives me crazy. Because I think it's not, and I don't think it's any reflection on you guys that have been trained in it. But for some reason, the medical schools, they think, well, we've always done it this way. Why change, sort of thing, And the thing is, when it comes to for people like me who live with persistent pain and probably other long-term health conditions, that sort of model isn't really that useful. It may be useful for acute stuff and whatnot, but for persistent pain and long-term conditions, it gives our ride through life pretty with a lot of speed bumps.
Well, you're stealing one of my points here. Oh. That's quite all right.
I mean, this is so the thing really is what I've always advocated and trying to encourage. I mean, the medical schools won't talk to me. I'm just a grain of sand on the beach. But what I always keep promoting is great, they're doing a good job in doing a medical model, but why don't they include a self-management model? So that when the medical people leave their schools, they've got all the, like you call it, all the extra tools to help the people that are going to be seeing over the coming years.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like we're singing from the same hymn sheet, man.
I think so.
Great, good stuff. Well, if there's anything I can do from this end, Pain Toolkit, provide any sort of PDF training stuff, let me know. I'm always, if I can help in any way with guys like you and any of your colleagues that are doing something similar, then I'm all out for you. I'll do what I can to help.
Well, I'm sure I'll take you up on that offer, because you have a great product there. The Pain Toolkit. It's not something that that everybody knows about, and they need to if they're in persistent pain. So.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because you're taking time out in your morning. I'll send you a PDF of the American version later on.
Thank you.
When you use that with your colleagues, you can do. So listen, I know you've got a 10-hour journey. That 10 hours for me, that would be like going from here to Scotland.
Well, and
a bit back a bit, but boy, oh boy, that's a hell of a long journey, man.
I did a journey like that with a friend who was born in the Netherlands, and he said if he was in Europe, he'd go through 5 countries in that period of time.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's crack on with the. Listen, James, I'll say 1 minute. If you want to cruise over a few other minutes and everything, that's fine by me. I may chip in here and there, but just if you can tell, what's the importance for if someone's watching this who lives with persistent pain, what's in it for them to learn how to self-manage?
Okay, so number 1, 3 hours versus 165 hours. That'd be the number of hours per week that most patients are in therapy versus the number of hours that are on their own. So clearly that 165 is more important. And what makes therapy useful is if the clinician is able to give you some tools to work on during that 165, as opposed to leaving you out floundering and wondering what the heck you're supposed to do. A home exercise program is not enough. So that leads to the second one, is I think one of the most important tools that you can have is to be able to create a little bit of emotional distance between you and the pain that you're experiencing. If you call it my pain, you're holding it tight. If you call it the pain, there's a little bit of a distance. But the beauty of that emotional distance is that it allows you to begin to look at the pain with a little bit more curiosity and a little bit less fear. And with that curiosity, you can begin to see how it behaves in different situations and at different times. And since nobody else feels the pain that you do, you are completely unique in that way. You're the only one who can really figure it out. The therapist needs to give you some tools, be in the driver's or in the passenger seat next to you, but you've got to do the driving, and using one of your analogies. The last thing is that persistent pain is like any other chronic condition, which is to say it does not respond well or frequently to an acute intervention. You can't take a pill that will fix it. You can't do exercise that will fix it. Usually even surgery, or many times even surgery, won't fix it. What needs to be done with any chronic condition is essentially persistence and chronic exposure to those things that really work for you. But you don't know what those are until you begin to practice that. So, just like a diabetic needs to watch their diet and need to be consistent with their exercise and need to be consistent with their medications, they can't just stop those things because, well, I did that once and, it didn't work. As soon as you stop, it comes back. So that persistence is what makes the neurological changes that sometimes can make a whole lot of difference. So those are my points.
They're really top tips there, James, and I think it's all the work of pain self-management. It has to be done by us. I was emailing someone, emailed me overnight. I'm not sure where they're from, but they were looking for what they got to that point where they were sort of saying that they're fed up and they've had pain for 3 years, but they feel that they now realise they've got to take more control over it, but they wasn't sure what to do,
Yep.
And she felt that this lady, she said she didn't feel that she was getting the right help and support from a healthcare professional. But I think people, as I did back in the day, we go doctor shopping, we go therapy shopping and stuff like that. I always say is find the healthcare professional that knows about self-management, knows about pain self-management, because they're the ones that can really be your buddy, really, like your pain toolkit buddy, and help you along the way.
I would suggest that anybody who's in persistent pain who goes to a therapist or a doctor or a chiropractor or anybody else who says that they can fix you, go find somebody else, because unfortunately it's just wasting your time, your money, emotional investment. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work. I wish it did, because it'd be a lot nicer, but it doesn't.
Would be, yeah. I mean, we'd make a fortune, man. I wouldn't have a few Harleys. I'd have quite a few Harleys. If I could have a whole Harley dealership,
Yeah.
I think the thing is, the work is done by us, really, and I saw a figure from the Department of Health a few years ago, as they said that on average, someone with a long-term condition will only see a healthcare professional for 3 hours in a year.
Yeah.
The other 8,757 hours are on their own. So, we got to learn how to do it ourselves, like, you know.
I do think, though, that is one of the reasons why physios and occupational therapists have the potential to be really, really helpful, because we generally have a whole lot more time in a week than you've got in a year with your physician. And so we have that structural tool where also people expect to move. That's kind of why they go into physical therapy. They expect to be touched, and sometimes that can be really helpful as well. Not always, but you know, with those kind of structural advantages, my profession has the opportunity to be good, yet I don't think we are at the moment. And so that's where I really want to try to move my profession forward. You know, one of the frustrations is it takes a full generation time between the what current research is showing is helpful and what common practice is. And physios in this country are just beginning in schools to learn this stuff as new grads, but the vast majority of them, the ones even graduating this past year, generally aren't getting that, and that's really a shame. And so my job is to try to close that gap from 17 years or so down to as short as I can make it.
James, it's been, do you know what, man? It's been a really nice pleasure to talk to you. It feels like I've been separated at birth somewhat, because we're singing from the same hymn sheet, you know. And it's good to hear that a healthcare professional was as switched on as you. Like, by the way, I know you're going to go and travel over and see Michelle later on. She did the first 1 minute interview with me last Saturday. So please say hello to her for me.
I'll do that.
I think like yourself, Michelle, and other people over there in the States are really getting switched on now to the idea of persistent pain management. So it's just a matter of, like you, I've been doing this for 20 odd years now. And from where we were 20 years ago to where we are now, boy, oh boy, I feel this is like Captain Kirk stuff. You know, we really have moved on from where we were 20 odd years ago. So, I'd like to thank you on behalf of people with pain for all the good work that you're doing over there, James. So thanks very much for that. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And I want to shout that, bring you back to you, because you've been doing this a whole lot longer than I have from the perspective of self-management. And I'm really impressed with what you've done.
Well, when people say that to me, James, you know what, man, I always keep saying it's a teamwork effort. I can't do what I do without the support of you guys. So big back to you, man.
Very good.
And stay on the line. I'll have a little chat with you after the stop recording, but just say thanks very much for taking the time today. Very, very much appreciated. And let's do another one of these at some point as well, James. All right?
I'd love to. Thank you for the opportunity.
Take care. Safe journey, man.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, man.